So you are playing piano. I asked some people on Twitter if they had questions for you. A lot of them wanted to know about the piano
Yeah, we have a track on the record called "Goodbye to the Girl" that's really kind of this beautiful piano-driven piece that I wrote with a couple of my bandmates, and we're actually trying to sort out at the moment who's going to play that live. I'm angling for myself, but I've got to get a little bit more comfortable. It's a lot easier in a studio when you can say, "Oh, I messed up. I get to do it 40 more times." So, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. It's something fresh. I've been playing guitar since I was 12, 13 years old. So it's about time for a new challenge, I think.
What other new things or new challenges did you take on?
There's a lot of orchestral stuff on this record. Two songs specifically. Take Me As I Am and Fade Into Me, we were able to get these amazing orchestral arrangements. I think one of them was from Slovakia and the other one was from Germany, and they did an incredible job. And I love those cinematic moments, things that just make you feel like it's just so grandiose, And then I think we played around with theremins and sitars and all this kind of random stuff that I personally would have never thought to use.
Do you play a theremin?
I have a couple at the house, and I don't know that I play them. I can sure as hell make noise on them. So, I think a lot of that you have to give credit to the producer Matt Soletic. He did an incredible job of really kind of pushing me.
Who else did you work with on this record? I know there's some. And your band,
Yeah. I worked with the guys in my band, Neil and Andy. I worked with Ryan Tedder on the single, Kevin Griffin from Better Than Ezra, Johnny Resnick from the Goo Goo Dolls. I worked with Ryan Starr on a track.
Rockstar Supernova.
Yeah. Actually, we toured together on the last tour, and great guy. We've become really good friends. So
that's a meeting of the reality minds.
You gotta love it. And then I worked a lot with David Hodges on this record. I think we co-wrote 10 songs on this album, or 10 songs overall, and I think maybe 4 or 5 of them are going to make the cut. So I was really fortunate. I got into rooms with some amazing people and really was able to work with them and coexist with them, and meanwhile just still picking their brains and trying to get better.
Did you do more? You kind of set with your last album a record for how much an Idol winner did of writing on the first album. How much writing did you do on this one? As much or more?
My name will be on every song on this record, and that was really, really important to me. I stubbornly so pride myself on being a writer, and that's where I want to be. So this record was definitely it was a lot of work. I think really pushing myself to outdo any previous work, whether that be post or pre-Idol. So it's definitely a record I can hang my hat on. I'm very proud of this album.
A term you used for your last album is you said Mr. Sensitive was your favorite child. Is that?
My favorite child. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite child on this record?
Probably the opening track right now, a song called Circadian. Biggest undertaking on this record by a landslide was that song. There's so many kind of moving parts to that track, and yet they all kind of work in cohesion. And to me, what we set out to do with that song, I think we really hit the nail on the head, and I think it's the perfect kind of, for lack of a better term, I guess maybe reintroduction to me as an artist, and because I know I've been out of it for a little bit, kind of slaving away in a studio. So yeah, I think that's probably the loftiest undertaking on this record, but definitely carries a ton of weight. I can't wait for people to hear that one.
You said it did what you set out to do. What did you set out to do?
Just, for me, I've always loved those records where the first track just really kind of punches you in the mouth, but by the same token, it's also that track that has to lead into everything else on the record. And I wanted that track really bad on this record, and I feel like this song definitely does it. I remember the first time hearing a mix of this song and being like, that is exactly what I want to do. That is exactly where I want it to sit. And yeah, that was a really cool moment. I think that moment kind of drove us forward to the rest of this record. So it's that song's an important piece for this album.
You call it a reintroduction. Do you feel you need a reintroduction?
I think every record's a reintroduction, and especially considering I took the time to get this album right, and it would have been really easy to get a bunch of writers to submit songs and have another album out in 4 months and be done. And but I didn't want to do that because I felt like it shortchanged not only myself but my fans. You know, I think they've been extremely patient, but I think they've been really understanding of why. And so now that we're finally on this cusp, like I'm just June 28th can't come soon enough. You know.
Did you feel pressure, be it either internal or external from record label people, managers, whatever, to get something out sooner? Were people like...
You know, to be honest with you, not really. I almost expected that coming into it. But, you know, 19 and RCA, they were great. You know, they really understood where my passions lied and why they were there, and did everything within their power to see to it that I had the things that I needed to make this record what it is. So it was definitely a collaborative process, but I can say unequivocally that at no point was I internally feeling any pressure to meet a deadline.
Cool. This is kind of a loaded question, but this is just the thing that bugs me. Okay. Is sometimes, especially lately, last couple of years, there's been a lot of articles and stuff about how Idol people don't sell as well as they used to, or how Idol's in trouble. And sometimes they cite you, which is BS because you actually sold more than 1 million records and 2 million songs. I don't know if they're not doing the research or what. Why do you think that it seems like an image problem? There's this perception that you're not as successful as you actually are. I mean, if you look at the numbers.
Sure. I don't know. I'm just as confused by it as you are. And it's funny. Like you could take 2 articles that are talking about the same subject matter, and it's spin. You know, like 1.4 million records to some writer might be amazing. To the other person, it's like, well, I mean, he's not in magazines, he's not on TV all the time, but to me, those kind of things are always they're secondary. I guess, you know, they're important, and I don't undervalue them. But my goals have always been to play good shows and make good records, and everything will fall into place. And really, I mean, those numbers kind of prove my point a little bit, you know, to be able to go out and make a record that I'm proud of and go out on the road and support it as long as we did. And we sold 1.4 million records. So for me, that's the formula. And hopefully it continues to prove me right.
The last question I'm going to ask you is about, I think I've asked you this before, and you were very humble about it, but
yeah.
I really do feel you opened doors for Idol. Looking at, say, the cast we have this year, or actually the last 3, do you feel you did, just in terms of being able to people get outside the pop box?
I think as I step further away from it, I do feel like maybe I hit on something. It certainly wasn't a calculated move by any chance. I think on my season I just looked at it as, okay, there's all these amazing singers. I've got to do something to stand out, to separate myself. And where I really felt like my strong suit was in knowing my voice and realizing what it is about a song that makes it work for my voice. So I think how that's parlayed itself in future seasons has very little to do with me, and I think it has everything to do with the contestants that have, you know, done what they've done. I think you look at what Adam Lambert did. You know, he took these amazing risks, and they all seem to pay off for him. And so I think to say I'm not cognizant of maybe a little bit of a shift would be dishonest, but I'd be completely asinine to take credit for other people's success. I think what they've done on their own merit is incredible.
But see, since it's not enough to just sing a song well, you have to turn it into a different song. I'm actually missing that bit this season. The whole
it's tough, and you know, I think a lot of it comes down to, again, just knowing your voice and knowing how a song can fit into your voice, and it's always a little weird for me, I think, to do that, because you're almost saying I'm more important than the song, and I don't believe in that at all. But you know, the way that Idol is, you kind of have to find a way to coexist with that song. And so this season, you know, I've seen it a little bit, especially with Casey, and just kind of really, the dude's so musically just gifted, and really everybody is. And you know, I get asked a lot, like, who's your favorite and who do you think's going to win? And I think they're all kind of leveling out, and I would love to see somebody really step up and separate themselves. And I think in order to do that, they're really going to have to just say, look, man, this is my voice, and I'm doing it. And I don't know, we'll see.
We will see. Well, thank you so much. This was an excellent interview, and you're all dressed up.
I am all dressed, yeah,
Bring some medals.
just today.